Chris, I mean, you've been right on the cusp of the final and winning it all a couple of times now, the semifinals going to the final. I'm just curious what you feel is the key to getting over that hump this season.
I think there's a couple of different keys to getting over the hump. I mean, listen, I got to look at the glass half full, right? There's also nobody in this organization that's ever been to 3 semifinals and a final. So I have I have some of the ingredients for the consistency that other people don't have. Now it's just a matter of um really those last couple of fights just knuckling down and getting it done. Um and I'm gonna lean on hard work and my fundamentals to get that done. I'm not gonna try to make it happen with some type of magic, or some jumping this and spinning that. I know it needs to be consistency, it needs to be fundamentals, and I'm right there. So it's just little help from God, and it's time to get it done.
And the fight with Bubba, I mean, having competed against him before, it was a fairly heated build-up last time. What's it been like this time? Has it been a little quieter with you having that win?
To tell you the truth, I'm not really sure where his head is at. I can only speak for myself, and I think, I'm a veteran of the sport, but I think that I'm also maturing in a sense that, like, I realized that I spent a lot of energy fighting off like 2 or 3 guys in my weight class last year, like verbally on the side of fights. The first fight in Texas last year where I fought Lance Palmer, I had a physical altercation with Bubba and Brendan back to back at weigh-ins. So it was just like there was a lot of distractions, a lot of bullshit that wasted energy that I feel like I could have used inside of the cage. So this year it's just like a respect all, fear none situation for me. That type of stuff doesn't it did I proved basically it didn't serve me in the end. And it's time to scratch that and just focus on working hard and beating him up when the cage is locked.
Last one for me. That having been said, you mentioned the fight at the end of last year against Brendan. Obviously, it didn't go the way you wanted. The PFL season and the way it works, you could go all the way to the final and never see him. But would it mean more to you to get that win back when all is said and done?
No, it wouldn't mean more to get the win back than to get the title and the $1 million. No. I'll uh I'll uh I'll take the million, I'll take the belt. I'll give him a call. We could play a round of golf after. We could joke about our fight. Trust me, the money and the belt comes over the grudge match there for sure. But I get what you're saying.
Fair enough, man. Best of luck in this one.
Thank you.
Lorenzo.
Hey, Chris, it's good to talk to you again, man. With the exception of 2020, you've been very active these past 5 years. You've been a playoff contender in and year out. And it feels like you're really in your element in this type of format. Do you agree with that? And what do you attribute your success to?
I'm sorry, I just missed the end of that when you said the format.
I said it feels like you're really in your element in this type of format. So do you agree with that? And what do you attribute your success to?
Oh yeah, well, geez, yeah, I have been pretty active, right? I think it's like 4 or 5 fights a year the last couple of years, and I think what makes me successful at that is my wrestling background, being used to making weight a couple times a week, wrestling, 3, 4 matches a day, getting up, doing it all over again. My life, I kind of simulated this type of situation growing up. So I'm able to draw from that. I'm not one of the fighters that just came up in MMA where I need a bout and then I need 3 or 4 months off as a break and then I can look for another bout. As long as I'm healthy, I keep my weight within shooting distance, I'm ready to go, man. I'll fight every 6 weeks until December. Just give me that money and keep signing those checks.
You and Bubba have some history in this division. You were successful against him in your first fight, and you came away with the unanimous decision. You talked a little bit earlier about what you can expect from him in this next matchup. It seems like the PFL format doesn't really lend itself to the kind of thinking of looking back on previous fights. I mean, you guys fought a year and a half ago, but you've each had what, like 5 or 6 fights since then, versus you would have 2 or 3 anywhere else. Is that kind of too long ago to worry about in a sense? I mean, you both have improved and tweaked a lot of things since then at this point, right? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think it's fair to probably meet that in the middle. He hasn't had 5 fights. He lost. He didn't fight in the final that year, and then he fought 3 times last year. No, oh, he fought 4. Yeah, so this will be his 5th. He's definitely made some adjustments. He got a little better with his boxing, and I've definitely made some adjustments too, though. So it's one of those things where it doesn't really matter if it's PFL or wherever. If it were a wrestling match for me, you can't look back and assume just because you beat somebody that you're definitely going to win again. These guys are all high level athletes, and if you sleep on them, they'll catch up to you, and they'll catch you by surprise. So although I do recognize that my style matches up good with him, I still don't take any of that for granted. I know that this is a whole new fight, and I got to win each round, or I got to get him out of there.
I appreciate it, Chris. I can't wait for Saturday, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Abdullah.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, what's up?
Last time you and I spoke was in Atlanta, and you got pretty emotional talking about how your daughter is your main drive for fighting at this point. Is that still the case heading into this year? Even though, things didn't go exactly as planned the last time, is that the same drive you're working towards, with the same fuel under you? Or is there something else pushing you now?
Yeah, man. My family comes first. My daughter comes first. I want to give her the best life that I could possibly give her. I'm not trying to spoil her. She still lives a good life, don't get me wrong. I just want to be able to like set the future up and know there's no worries and no stress financially on things. So when I say she's my driving force, I just, it's really as simple as being able to picture her. I was on the treadmill this morning. I started getting like feeling sorry for myself. I have a rubber suit on. I've cotton mouth, and I just think of her saying, like giving me a hug. I dropped her off to school Monday before I came here, and she's like, "I love you. I know you're gonna win." And like, it gets me emotional, but it definitely is a big driving force for me. So, um, yeah, it remains the same.
The best to both of you. Speaking of the future, you fight often. You talked about it just now, fighting 5, 6 times a year. You would fight more if you could. Do you see that as sustainable, cutting that much weight, taking that much, out of your body all this time?
No, it's not sustainable for somebody that's as big as I am. I know that there's a what do you call it? There's only so many times, your body will kind of give you to you and let you do this. But I also always, I know that there's opportunity here, and I know that I'll have the rest of my life to look back on these times and look at them fondly and just be proud of where I was at and the level I was competing at. So even though I know it's definitely rough on my body and on my mind, I know that I'd rather use my body and I would rather use my mind for something great like this than to just kind of do nothing and be miserable and be in a job, I'm not happy with. So, yeah, I think, I mean, in regard to the weight cutting and in regard to 45, is this my last run at it? I don't know. We'll see. But I'm definitely aware the toll that it takes on my body. So the opportunity is still great enough, but yeah, I'm starting to see that for sure.
Hope it never gets too much on you. And the last one for me, a question I like to ask a lot of fighters: agree or disagree? Using steroids in MMA, it's kind of like entering a natural beauty contest with makeup on. You're cheating, you're covering up your work, and it makes you a fraud.
Yeah, I agree. I also know that it's rampant in the sport, though, so it's a little naive to make that statement because it's literally everywhere. So, yeah, double-edged sword.
Thanks for your time. Best of luck.
All right. Thank you, Chris, for your time. Appreciate you. If you just want to head to that door right there for live media,
Sure.
and you'll be good to go.
All right, cool.
I'm on it.
Anik, is your question for Rob?
Yes.
Awesome.
Rob, Anik Subramanian from Fightbook MMA. Welcome back. At the championships last year, you told me that it would be awesome to bring the first ever PFL belt back to Australia. How was the homecoming? And tell me what the celebration was like.
It was good to get home to Tassie and just see all my friends and family I hadn't seen for about 10 months whilst I was over in Denver training. And yeah, the news and paper and everything got behind me a lot, which was nice because they in the past they haven't got behind MMA that much back home, and a few people stopped me on the street or in the pub and stuff like that and congratulated me. So yeah, it was very nice to get back home.
Good to hear. And one more from me. You won all your fights by knockout last year. Thiago Santos, your opponent, he has power and is also a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Do you plan on keeping the fight on the feet or mixing in some grappling as well? And what do you envision the matchup to look like?
I'm happy to fight. I think I'm very well rounded. I'm happy to take the fight wherever it goes. One of my goals this year was to be a bit more like blend my striking and grappling a bit more together and not just be one dimensional. But that being said, he's got power, but when did we see that power last? I don't think he's had a knockout for however many years. So yeah, I'm comfortable wherever the fight goes.
Thanks, Robin. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Patrick McQuarrie.
Hey Rob, this is Patrick McQuarrie from Combat Sports UK. How you doing today?
I'm good, bud.
How good does it feel, coming back after a very successful season, obviously winning the $1 million? I want to know, man, what was the first thing you bought with the big load of cash?
I've saved most of it. I went on a little holiday to Mexico for 2 weeks after the fight. And yeah, just honestly haven't really splashed out too much with it.
And the growth of Australian MMA recently across many promotions, the emergence of Jack Della Maddalena and a lot of other fighters. Do you feel like you're one of the main people among that group? And if you do, how good does it feel to be leading the charge among those amazing Australian fighters?
I mean, I think in Australia, PFL hasn't grown that much as a sense as obviously more of the casual fans, as people say, follow the UFC, but definitely, I just won a world title for Australia, and everyone who follows MMA knows that I'm one of the main guys out of Australia.
Thank you so much for talking to me, and good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Kyle Diamond. Kyle?
Hi, Rob. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Cool. Kyle from VMTV. I'm wondering, coming into the season as last year's winner, how do you kind of re-center your motivation to go and do it again?
I mean, I'm always motivated for fights, and I feel like winning it last year. That was something, I don't know, I just knew it was going to happen, and I feel like this year is going to be even better and even bigger, even more important for me to win it this year than it was last year, to really make a statement that I am the best light heavyweight in the world. And I think going back-to-back championships is a good way to show that.
The PFL has been a fantastic breath of fresh air for you in your career. Do you think it could be the same for your opponent, Thiago?
Unfortunately, not. I think I'm gonna happily send him into retirement.
As someone who's been through the tournament once over now, what do you think will surprise Thiago the most with him doing it for the first time?
I mean, obviously he's got to fight back to back, but I've seen him in the past. He's been, very active sometimes before, but I think I heard him saying that he thinks, he's just levels above everyone in the PFL, and I'm just going to show him that's not the case. And we've seen time and time again, like UFC fighters coming over here thinking they're going to be able to just easily win $1 million and win a world title and not go their way. So I'm looking forward to being the PFL champ to do that to him.
Cool. Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
Jay Anderson.
Hey, Rob, thanks very much for the time today. You're now the man to beat, the man with the target on your back, so to speak. So I'm curious if that changes anything for you, even on just the mental side of things.
Not really. I know I've got a bit of a target on my back, but I think most of my fights last year are still the favorite going into them, and I'm excited. I want people to know who I am and trying to take me out. So yeah, it doesn't change anything. I'm still preparing. I'm still just as hungry and motivated as I was last year.
And you mentioned we haven't seen Thiago's power in a while. Do you feel he's been able to get back to where he was before the John Jones fight, or did that fight and the injuries really just change him for the long term?
I mean, if you look at his fight since that Jones fight, he hasn't finished anyone. He's lost 5 of his last 6, I think. And obviously he's getting on in his career age-wise. So it looks like it did change him, but it's always hard to come back from, especially double knee surgery.
And I guess the flip side of that, do you feel he's going to be extra motivated coming into this season to say, hey, I'm not done. I've still got something in the tank?
Yeah, definitely. He's fighting me, who won the tournament last year. He's looking to make a statement, come in, and I'm sure he's looking to get a finish over me and, show that he's the top guy in the division. But yeah, I don't believe that's the case. I'm the champ, and I'm going to be the double champ this year.
Well, looking forward to the fight. Thanks again for the time.
Thank you.
Jonathan.
Hey, Rob. Jonathan Ramlichan, 5 Regions Sports. You just spoke about being the double champ. Only 4 people have actually repeated as a champion. What do you need to do to be the 5th person?
Just constantly improving. Not be happy with where I was last year, and know that to win it again, I've got to be a better fighter than I was last year. And I believe I'm always improving. I'm only 31. I think I've got a lot to keep showing you guys when I'm fighting, and show my full skill set. And I'm very motivated to do that and keep proving that I'm the best fighter in the world.
Now, going through the whole tournament, winning the whole thing, do you feel like that gives you a specific advantage knowing how to prepare going throughout the whole season?
A little bit. I think I did it pretty well last year, managing my recovery and mindset throughout the tournament. So just making sure I'm doing the same sort of stuff this year. But yeah, you can be lucky or unlucky. Injuries can step in the way from anything. And in the tournament, if you're injured, you either have to fight through it or you're pulling out. So it's the toughest tournament in the world.
Thanks, man. Good luck.
Thank you.
Curtis.
Rob, this is Curtis Calhoun here with MMA News. My first question for you is, I want to talk a little bit about the PFL format. You mentioned kind of, coming off of your first season in the PFL, and obviously it worked out great for you. But what are your thoughts on the format, like the quick turnarounds in between fights and the grind and knowing who you're going to fight ahead of time?
I like the turnaround. I think this year we've got maybe a little bit longer between fights, just like a week, 9 weeks between, I think, this fight and the next fight. But I don't know, after a fight, it's nice to have a little bit of time off. But then if you don't have anything to, aim towards, sometimes you kind of spend too much time eating junk food and fucking around. So I like that. Straight as soon as you're done, I've got another goal, another task to get straight onto and keep me just straight back at the gym.
In terms of the statement that I would make to win the PFL title 2 years in a row. I mean, I guess like what kind of statement do you feel like that would be if you pulled that off, like in terms of putting you against some of the other top light heavyweights in the world?
I think it's a huge statement. I think then I'd start getting the respect I deserve, or I believe I deserve. I think I'm the best light heavyweight in the world. I don't think I deserve that ranking at the moment, but I believe, going back to back definitely gets me very close to deserving that ranking.
Last question for me. When you look at this matchup specifically with Thiago Santos, do you feel like, kind of the accumulation of damage that he's taken over his past few fights will catch up to him in this matchup? Or I guess, how do you see that?
I mean, I don't think he's really taken too much damage. He's just kind of changed the way he's fighting in the last few years after the Jones fight. But I'm sure he's going to be coming out maybe a bit more aggressive than he has in his past fights, and trying to bring the old Santos back and into a new promotion. And, I'm sure he's very motivated to go and win a world title before he's done. So, yeah, I'm not taking this fight lightly, obviously, at all. I think it's the biggest fight I've had in my career, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
Jay Christian.
Good afternoon, Mr. Wilkinson. Jay Christian Gary at Focus Fights Audio. How are you, sir?
I'm good, bud. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, mate. I just wanted to ask a couple of questions, if that was okay. I know this was opined earlier, but you're facing Thiago Santos at PFL 1. With this being his PFL debut, coming in from the octagon, so to speak, what would be the one tip you would say to Santos as a way to get him, adjusted to fighting in the smart cage?
What was the question, sorry?
Basically, with Thiago Santos coming into the PFL from the octagon, obviously the 3-letter promotion that a lot of people often talk about, what would be the one tip you would say to Maheta as a way for him to get used to fighting in the smart cage?
I mean, it doesn't matter about the promotion. Top guys in the world, we're the top fighters in the world, so it's not any easier over here.
Understood. As you're coming into this particular season looking to repeat as champion and add an extra $1 million to your bank account, what would you say to young fighters that are inspired by your journey?
I mean, I think I've shown that it's just a lot of hard work and being disciplined and committed to what you want to do. And it doesn't always come quickly or easily. Last year was a very good year for me, but that was my 11th year being a professional fighter. So, I've had 10 years before that where I've made no money and, just doing the grind, which, everyone kind of does. So you just got to be committed. And if you love what you're doing, it should be easy.
Understood. And one more question. Considering the fact that you are fighting your second consecutive tournament as a light heavyweight, would there be an interest down the line of you, gaining 15 pounds and fighting as a heavyweight down the line?
Not anytime soon, but maybe when I'm a little bit older and can't be bothered giving up burgers, I might fight a heavyweight.
Okay, understood. With that in mind, congrats on getting into the season, and I hope you do well as the season progresses, mate.
Thanks, bud.
Last question for Rob. Anik.
And mine's for the next round. Sorry, I just asked Rob questions.
Oh, sorry. All right, let's do Lorenzo.
Hey, Rob, it's good to talk to you. 2022 was your most active year as a pro MMA fighter. You fought 4 times in 6 months, and you ended the year with a big championship win. This is your first fight since November. Can you talk a little bit about how you balanced the past 4 months? You mentioned fucking off and not eating burgers. How hard was that with four months off after such a busy 2022?
I ate a fair few burgers with my time off. No, it was good. Obviously, you have the season and you train really hard, and then you're going to have a little bit of time off. It went pretty quickly, but going home to Tassie was nice to see family and friends. And I'm always training. I don't just stop training or anything like that. But it's nice just you don't have to stress about a fight coming up or what you're eating too much. But I'm always at the gym and always looking to improve.
You mentioned going back home to Tassie. Here in the States, most people unfortunately associate Tasmania with Looney Tunes, right? Can you talk a little bit about what your hometown is like and how it helped raise you?
It's my favorite place in the world. It's a beautiful little island at the bottom of Australia. It's not tiny. It's I think the population's about 500,000 people, but it's enough space that it's just I highly recommend going there if you ever can. But I always look forward to getting back home.
All right, and last question for me. This fight has a lot of eyes on it, and for good reason. You have the 2022 PFL World Champion trying to make a statement and say, yeah, it's a new season, but I'm still here. I'm still the man to beat, right? And on the other side of the smart cage, you have a big free agent signing. He's looking to make his presence felt in this new league that he's in now. Are you of the belief that this is the biggest fight of your pro career, given the circumstances?
Yeah, I feel like this is a huge fight. I feel like it's bigger than my title fight last year, and I'm going into this to make a statement. And I think getting a win over Thiago really helps prove that I'm one of the top light heavyweights in the world.
Awesome. Thanks for your time, Rob. Can't wait to see you on Saturday.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Rob. Appreciate your time today. If you just want to head through that door right there for live media.
Cool.
Thank you.
Big guys.
All right, Anik, go ahead and kick us off for Marlon.
Marlon, welcome to the PFL regular season, Anik Subramanian Fightbook MMA. So, how much better do you feel fighting at featherweight, and how many pounds will you be cutting tonight?
Won't cut much, less than 10 pounds, but I can keep myself hydrated. I can keep the hard work training. It's good, I feel amazing fighting at this weight.
Good to hear. And one more question. In your fight against Shaman last year, you fought a terrific fight for the first 2 rounds. Even though you lost, can you take some confidence from that performance?
Definitely. I felt stronger, and I love the way I out grapple him, and unfortunately I got caught, but it is what it is. That's the fight business.
Thank you, Marlon, and good luck on Saturday.
Lorenzo.
Hey, Marlon, it's good to talk to you. This is going to be your first full year with the PFL, right? And your first fight of the 2023 season is against none other than last year's champ. How does that affect your thought process going into the fight? Is there a benefit to approaching this as if it were a title fight, or do you see it differently?
Yeah, definitely. I'm fighting the champion, and that's how I prepare myself. I prepare myself to fight with the best 145 pounder in the world. That's Brendan. And that's how I'm walking into this fight.
And you've had a tough stretch as of late, but it has been against top level elite fighters. You know better than anyone else that adversity is a big part of fighting, and through adversity there's a path to growth. What have you learned about yourself throughout the course of the last few fights?
I'm a strong guy, and I believe in myself, and I'm at the level, I fought with the best in the world, and I never pick a fight. I'm so proud to look myself in the mirror every day and know that every single fight I gave my best. I put all the work in, that's it.
Spoken like a true fighter. Thank you for the time, Marlon. Appreciate it.
Jonathan Ramlakan, 5 Region Sports. Hey, Marlon, you spoke about it being your first season in the PFL. How different is it preparing for up to 4 fights with the PFL versus just 1 fight coming up?
I've been fighting growing up, I've been doing tournaments. I've been fighting 3 times at the same day. So now we are fighting 4 times in 1 year. And for me, the weight is not a problem. So it's just consistency and do what I love. I train every day. If I have a fight, if I don't have a fight. So that's it.
Now, 16 of your 23 wins have come by finish. How do you feel like your style gives you an advantage in the PFL that rewards finishing fights?
Everyone knows I can finish a fight anytime. So I'm a threat for the division. You know, everyone know when they fight with me, they gotta keep their hands up.
Thank you, and good luck in your fight.
Thank you.
Curtis Calhoun.
Hey, Marlon, this is Curtis Calhoun with MMA News. Good to talk to you again. First question for me, obviously just a few days out from this fight with Brendan Loughnane. How do you see this fight stylistically? Obviously a guy that likes to push the pace in the feet, but I feel like, this is a really similar stylistic matchup between the two of you.
Man, I see this fight gonna be a war, you know. We both gonna try knock each other out. We are guys that are in there to fight. That's never been a fight of me that people complain with me, oh, you are a boring fighter. So guys, watch this fight. It's gonna be a war. Fight of the night for sure.
And how much pride do you take in not only, obviously you're trying to win fights, but also be entertaining too? Because I feel like your style over the years has really entertained fans. How much pride do you take in that?
Yeah, definitely. I'm really proud of the fighter I am and everything I accomplished in my career, but I got so much to give to the fans yet. I feel strong and 145 pounds. I had so much energy. If I have to fight now, I could fight now. These guys are all struggling in the corridors and looking down. I'm healthy, I'm healthy. I'm strong. If I have to fight now, I can fight now.
Last question for me. I remember when we spoke a few weeks ago, we talked a little bit about your wrestling and how it really stood out in that last fight against Marlon Moraes. How important is it, especially as a veteran of the fight game, to be well-rounded and to do a little bit of everything?
Very important, man. Everyone knows me as a striker, but I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu since I was 20. So I know jiu-jitsu, I've trained in jiu-jitsu, and I can do jiu-jitsu, I can do wrestling. So people know when I'm in the cage, I can do anything, and that's what I'm walking to Saturday night.
Appreciate it, Marlon. Thank you.
Patrick.
Hey, Marlon, this is Patrick McCoy from Combat Sports UK. How you doing today?
I'm great.
Good to hear. Last time out, you were having a great fight. You got caught. Did you take any lessons away from that fight that you're bringing into this one and that you brought into your training camp?
Of course, man. It's never a moment that you can blink, that you can take a little bit of foot off, You got to fight 100 all the time. And that's who I am, and especially at the 145 pound, not cutting weight at all, just keeping myself in shape, training hard. That's how I'm walking to this fight. That's 3 5-minute rounds full.
And you mentioned the training, this is a different weight class. Have you felt a difference in your training, not cutting to 35 and not feeling maybe as dehydrated, as drained in your training and now on fight week?
Definitely. These guys, they have probably 9 weeks of camp and the last 2 weeks is cutting weight. For me, it's 9 weeks of training.
And one last question from me. I noticed you and Brendan have faced off, I believe, multiple times. What's the energy you're feeling off him? He's coming off a very impressive campaign. What energy you're feeling off him going into this fight?
Man, he's a fighter. I'm a fighter. And you all watch me fighting over 20 times. You all watch him fighting 20 times. So that's nothing to hide. We both know what each other can do. So Saturday night, it's showtime.
Thank you for your time and good luck on Saturday night.
MMA locker room. MMA locker room.
Hey, what's going on, Marlon? How you doing today?
Great, I'm good.
Good. Love to see you here, man. I just want to take you back on memory lane. 2017, you had a first round knockout, with a knee. Then you followed that up in 2018 with a head kick and some punches for a knockout over Jimmy Rivera. It seems like when you were fighting back then, you were fighting out there with ill intentions, kind of on some Mortal Kombat stuff. Have your fighting style changed from then to now? Because it seems like you were going out there trying to finish people real quick. And then sometimes people get complacent after a few losses and just kind of get through the fight. How's your mentality going into this fight? Because I think if you go out there with the same mentality, another first round finish for Magic, man.
Everyone want to finish in the first round. That's everyone's dream when everyone start camp. But we face high level opponents. We face high level fighters. So sometimes doesn't work this way, you know, but I am looking at this fight. I'm fighting with the 2022 champion. So I'm ready for 3 fights. You know, I know that's going to be a high paced fight, and that's what I'm ready for. I'm not ready to get in there and knock him out so quick. I'm going there and I want to take it. I want to win it. I want to win every minute.
Like it, like it. And then for the people out there, you were so close last fight out. You know, now you're a big underdog going into this one. But I actually think, man, there's some magic under that beanie. How do you feel?
I feel great. I'm ready. That's all that matters. Anything outside of the fighting, it's you gotta be ready. You gotta be ready, and you gotta put all the work. And I did it.
Can't wait to see you this week. Have fun.
Thanks.
Right. Last question for Marlon. Let's do Abdullah.
Boa noite, Marlon. Como vai?
Boa noite.
There's recently in MMA, there's been a lot of problems with judging, with refereeing, and a lot of people seem to think that the issue is every state has a different commission that controls the judges and the referees. A former opponent of yours, Corey Sandhagen, recently came out and said he wants a universal commission, one commission to control the referees and the judges, to discipline properly and avoid mishaps. Do you agree with this?
Man, I'm not the one to speak of the commissions, you know. I just think everyone getting there to do their job, and I'm not the best judging. Sometimes I watch a fight and I think one guy won and then the other won. So it's kind of hard, you know. It's hard to judge. It's always easy to speak when you're outside.
Thank you. And the last one for me, the last few fights of yours have been tough. They haven't gone your way. What is the difference that you're going to make to get a different result?
It's fight, you know. It's just a matter of fight. Do what I know, and man, that's it. That's it. Get in there, do what I know, be a better fighter Saturday night, and the win's gonna come.
Thank you, brother. Good luck.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much, Marlon. Appreciate you. If you just want to come this way, actually.
Someone is there, right?
Yeah.
Artem Levin, I come for you. If you die, you die. Krzysztof. You talked to someone.
Curtis, can you hear me?
I can. You want me to start things off?
Yes, please.
All right. Krzysztof, how's it going? This is Curtis Calhoun here with MMA News. My first question for you, well, it's not really a question to start off, but welcome to the PFL. What have been your impressions of the PFL from the outside and during your time in the UFC? And what are your thoughts on the format?
I thought is a very good organization, and I think the MMA community needs organization like PFL, because I think in a market can be only one organization who say what to do to everybody, you know what I mean? So now the fighters can fight not only in the UFC, but also in the PFL and different organization, and also make good money.
Fighting at light heavyweight, obviously, it's got to be great for you in terms of not worrying as much about the weight cut. Talk to us a little bit about that in terms of how big that is for you during your camp to not worry as much about the weight cut and more on your skills.
Yeah, I was not worried all camp about my weight, and I don't worry even right now. I eat right now like a two breakfasts, and I'm still on the weight, so I feel great with this.
Were you surprised by how your UFC tenure came to an end, or kind of talk to us a little bit about how that all played out from your perspective?
One more time.
I was just asking, were you surprised by how your time with the UFC ended, or how did that all play out with the promotion?
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised because I have a 4-win streak and then I just lose one fight and they don't want to give me another contract. So I was a little bit surprised. But after I finished with the UFC,
I was like 95%, 99% sure I be here in a PFL. So I was straight back to training and building the muscle for 205.
Thank you for the time. Appreciate it.
Kyle Diamond.
Hi, Krzysztof. Kyle from VMTV. As a guy that's competed in the UFC for such a long time, how highly do you rate your opponent for your PFL debut, Will Fleury?
How what? I don't hear him good.
How highly do you rate Will Fleury?
Will Fleury is, I think, like a karate style guy from, I think, Conor McGregor gym. He have a record 11-3 or 10-3. He's not that experienced. He don't fight tough people like I fought. But of course, he's a big, powerful guy, and I think it'll be a good, hard fight.
With debuting in the PFL after spending such a long time in the UFC, does it add kind of an extra excitement for you, this kind of fresh start?
Exactly how you say. For me, it's like a new life, fresh excitement, a new organization, and I'm so happy to be here with the PFL.
Perfect. Thanks, mate.
Patrick.
Hey, Krzysztof, this is Patrick McCoy from Combat Sports UK. How you doing today?
Very good, thank you.
Good to hear. How excited are you, to step onto a new stage, a new group of fans even? We have there's UFC fans, but I think hardcore fans really love the PFL. Are you excited to show your skills on a new platform?
I'm super excited for this Saturday, and I promise you, I show my ice skills and all mixed martial arts on this fight.
And what are the biggest differences you've experienced just in the fight week alone from the UFC to the PFL?
What is different? I think, my opinion, even PFL have a little better treats the fighters. We have a nice food here. A lot of people work here, so everything is like perfect.
One last question then. What's your favorite thing of food on the PFL fighter table?
Today?
Yeah, today, yeah.
Today I see very nice fish there and some candy. I can eat candy because I'm not that big, so.
Right to hear. Good luck on Saturday, my friend.
Thanks.
Jonathan.
Jonathan Rumlicon, 5 Region Sports. Krzysztof, you said you were 99% sure that you were going to join the PFL after leaving the UFC. What were the thoughts coming into that decision?
Because I was even I was fighting in the UFC, I was watching and follow the PFL. I really like it. I really like it's a season, so you have a planning fights for all year, and this for me is like very nice because I can plan all my year for the training, for the fight. So this is awesome.
Now, you talked about planning for up to four fights in the season. How is that different versus just planning or having a fight camp for one fight?
Was different because I don't know when I have fight next. So after fight, I was usually make a month's break. So I was fat and not in a shape for this month, and then I come back to the training and I prepare for another fights. But this time is different. I will stay in 100% with a good shape for all year to take this fucking million.
Hey, go get that million, my man. Appreciate your time and good luck this season.
Thanks.
Krzysztof, welcome to the PFL. What advantages do you feel from not cutting weight? And clearly in the PFL, middleweights that have moved up to light heavyweight have a good history, including Omar Yakhmedov, finalist last year, Rob Wilkinson, who's a champion, and Thiago Santos is also a former middleweight. So what advantages do you feel?
I'm not getting tired for this fight week. I'm just happy. I eat what I want. My weight is on point, so it's just more comfortable for me. I don't need to just thinking about weight and training every day and sit in a sauna for a couple hours. So this is great.
That's great to hear. And one more question for me. How much pride do you take in representing Poland? And if you were to win the belt, what would a parade in Poland look like?
I want to be first Polish fighter who gets this PFL belt.
Very nice. Best of luck on Saturday.
Thanks.
Lorenzo.
Hi, Krzysztof. It's good to talk to you, my man. You faced a lot of top-level competition over the past few years. You're a new face in this promotion. What can you tell the PFL fans and even the rest of the division about the experience you bring into the smart cage? Not so much physically, but mentally as well.
I just want to say coming PFL for this fucking belt. This year is my year and the belt will be on my hips this year.
Let's go. We know the gas tank is not an issue for you. You can take fights deep into the third round, and you're very successful when you do that. You now move up to weight to 205 pounds. You mentioned that your body's feeling good, and that's awesome. What can you tell us about how you approach those later rounds now that you're a little bit heavier in the light heavyweight?
I'm not too much heavier like when I fight with a 185, maybe like 10 pounds heavier. So it's not too much, but that's why I don't put too much weight on me, because I want to keep my athletics, my condition, like you say. And I feel great, even better, because I'm much stronger and I'm still fast and still athletic, and still I have my breakdance move, what I can show in this Saturday.
Is it safe to say that your middleweight days are behind you? Are you committed now to the 205 division?
One more time.
Are you committed to the 205 division? Or
Yes, we see what happens Saturday, but I'm ready to go in a 205 too.
All right, Krzysztof, thanks for talking to us. Appreciate the time. I can't wait for Saturday.
Thanks.
Jay Anderson, last one.
Hey, thanks very much, Krzysztof. There's been a lot of talk about the weight. What's your walk around weight ahead of this fight?
My weight was for all camp was 218, close to 220. But when I come here, I was like 215 pounds. So now for today, I have like 28. So tomorrow I fight and I have 205.
Well, it's good to hear that it's going to be an easy cut. One of the standout aspects of the PFL format is that you get more points for finishes, and that'll help you in the playoffs moving forward. Does that change how you approach a fight? Are you looking for those finishes now?
I will looking for the finish. Of course, everybody wants 6 points or 5 points, but I don't put a pressure for myself to win this fight fast, because you can control this, and I will do everything what my opponent let me do.
All right. Thanks very much. Best of luck in the fight.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I was there already.
Good.
Super.
All right.
Right, Curtis, kick us off.
Hey, Josh, this is Curtis Calhoun here with MMA News. My first question for you is, you've talked a lot in other interviews about building a more mature and improved version of yourself this offseason. I guess talk to me a little bit about what these past few months have been like, and how pumped you are to get back in there.
Yeah, man. I think in every MMA career, there's always like this hill that we get over. This mindset that we decide to actually treat it as a real job. Obviously, I thought I was treating it as much as a job as I could, but I guess there's another level to it, and I've seemed to unlock these levels, not just spiritually, but like physically, mentally. And I could say, the past 10 weeks, I've been getting ready for this fight for about 10 weeks, little by little, figuring out myself, the lifestyle outside of the gym. I'm just pumped, man. I know I'm a completely different person. I know I'm a little bit older, but that just comes being part of the game, and I'm just really pumped to show that the maturity level, man. You know, I'm in my mind now. I feel like in a funny way, I'm trying now. You know, I'm really trying day and night. I'm obsessed with this thing. I'm not just like the kid who was raised in MMA and wants to fight. Now it's like I really want to get after this and become champion.
And I was about to ask about that. Like, do you feel like having the opportunity to kind of carve your own legacy in the sport, not just be known as the guy that was raised in MMA, does that kind of motivate you to kind of, you know, carve your own path and your own legacy?
For sure. And that was one of the processes that I digested, knowing that being part of the PFL, I could create that legacy. I could create that name for Josh Silveira and make the whole Silveira name even bigger than what it was before, you know. And the opportunities here, just got to take advantage, and you have to see it with a mature view, you know. And that's exactly what I took time to do for this camp, for this whole season, actually.
Last question for me. Do you feel like with the season format in the PFL, it kind of forces fighters to fight with maybe a little bit more of a sense of urgency and making the most of every opportunity? I guess, how do you see the format?
Yeah, no, the format is meant for entertainment, right? It's meant to apply pressure. It's meant to make fighters adjust their style, and that's what I'm all about. I'm all about adapting, man. You know, you tell me how we got to do this thing and I'm doing it. You know, I'm not going to try to find ways to find comfort in this setting of the rules and stuff. You know, if I got to do what I got to do, and I'm a finisher. If you look at my fights, the way I do my things, I'm always looking to finish fights, and the point system, I think, applies well for me.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
Jay Christian.
Jay Christian Gary of Focus Fights Audio here. How you doing, Mr. Silveria?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Nothing much, but I just want to ask you a couple of questions and maybe one more if we have time. First of all, you're going into this fight against Sam K, who's Tongan and Australian in the season opener. Despite Sam being 8-6 overall, you know, a couple fights and he could be at the 500 mark. Do you feel that he's tougher than his record makes him out to be?
Of course, a record is just a number. I've seen plenty of tough guys who had a rough start to their career. Losses build you up. You know, I'm taking him seriously. I'm not looking at him as an 8-6 guy. I'm looking at him as a dude that's trying to tear my head off. I'm gonna treat him accordingly, like I treat everybody. And I'm going over there to not look past him. I'm trying to go through this guy. You know what I mean? And I know what I've done. I know the work that I put in, and you know, I would be scared to fight myself. So that's how I'm treating this fight. You know, I wouldn't want to deal with me, and Sam K is gonna have to deal with me on Saturday.
Understood. Considering that you were a double champion in the Legacy Fighting Alliance, what would becoming the PFL Light Heavyweight Champion mean to you?
I mean, man, that sounds like an amazing moment right there, and that's the plan. The plan's always to be champion. The day that the day that my body tells me that I can't fight to be a champion anymore, that will probably be the day that, you know, I'll move on to something else in life. But the goal is to be champion. I love the ring of that. You know, 2023 PFL champion. That sounds pretty nice to me. And if I could become a double champ, just keep on building that legacy. Let's do it, but one belt at a time.
Understood. And one more, when it comes down to all that ATT swag you're wearing, what does represent an American top team in the PFL mean for you?
Yeah, man, American Top Team is it's a lifelong family, man. I seen it literally born. I've seen it developed. I've seen it go through hard times. I've seen it build itself back up. and now we're the best gym in the world. And I have so much pride in this team. I enjoy this team. I will never leave this team. It's the best team in the world. What they have to offer, no gym has to offer, and I'm more than happy to throw them on my back and represent American Top Team.
Okay. Other than that, good luck on Saturday, brother.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate the questions.
No problem.
Lorenzo.
Hey Josh, it's good to talk to you, my man. You're heading into your first full season as part of the PFL roster. That said, you still had 3 fights last year. Do you think that was enough for you to get the sense of the type of turnaround that the PFL season format presents?
Yeah, man. Like I said, MMA it's an adapting sport. Whether it was enough or not, we're gonna get locked in there and we're gonna have to figure it out. But I believe the fights I had in the PFL has given me enough sense of how the show works, how the smart cage works, how the points work. But other than that, MMA is MMA. We're putting on small gloves and we're trying to beat each other up and finish this fight. So yeah.
And we've seen champions come out of small gyms. We've seen champions come out of large gyms. What can you say about how the experience has been for you so far at ATT? I mean, I see you repping them hard there too. It's such a big gym. You do have a lot of champions there. You have a lot of elite level talent and coaches there also. What's it like for you in terms of the size of that gym, but still the level of success that they've had throughout the years?
So I tell this to everybody, what ATT has to offer, in my opinion, is one of the key things that fighters need when they go into fights. It's the fact that not to have a false sense of confidence. I've seen a lot of fighters go to fights with a false sense of confidence. You have a bunch of guys telling them that they're okay, they're ready, they've been working hard. Where ATT is not like that. You don't need a coach to tell you you're not working hard. You have a bunch of killers in there that's going to make you feel like you need to change up your game. You need to apply something else to your game. And so when you get to that fight, you have X amount of guys in the back of your head that you've sparred on a daily basis, that you grappled, that you've worked in and out of the gym, ran side by side, running 3.5 miles. I added that to my training schedule where I'm running with 10 guys, on the side of the road. It's a real team that doesn't give you false sense of confidence. And that's what I tell all these fighters, try to find a real confidence in yourself, not this fairy tale thing where you think you're going to throw this overhand right and the fight's going to be like a Rocky movie or something like that. It's not like that. You need to go in there with a real sense of confidence, and ATT gives me that. They give all the fighters that, to be honest with you.
I appreciate the insight, Josh. Thanks so much. Can't wait to see you on Saturday.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, last one, Patrick.
Hey, Josh, this is Patrick McCoy from Combat Sports UK. How you doing today?
Good, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Last time out, it was your first career loss, but I want to ask you, rebounding from this loss, what lessons did you take from it that you brought into this camp, and how motivated are you going into this fight to right those wrongs?
Yeah, man. I think it sounds a cliche thing, but I think a loss is definitely something that makes you think about what you really want to do, how you really want to do things, and how you want to get it done. And the loss gave me time to really put that in perspective. And like I said, I know it sounds cliche, but it's probably the best thing that happened to me. Obviously, we want to go through life without losses, but there's this weird trade in life where, you go through hard moments to build yourself up to a better person. And, losing to my teammate as well, I think that was, as crazy as it sounds, I think that was almost a blessing. I could have lost to any other person. Instead, I lose to a teammate of mine. Was very humbling. I got to see him afterwards in the gym. I cheered him on. It was a life lesson that I think was needed. But yeah, it definitely motivated me in the right direction, getting ready for this fight.
And on the undefeated record point, do you think, or do you agree with the stigma that, there's a lot of added pressure carrying the O, and now do you feel maybe some of that pressure is lifted going into this next one?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. With having the O the whole time, but the way I think of it, every fight I go to, I think of it as 0-0 all the time. I think every time I go in there, I don't look at myself. When I was undefeated, I didn't look at myself as this undefeated guy. Record's just a number. Is just a way for other people to kind of analyze the fighter. But for me, you're going in there 0-0. I know I lost my last fight, but that was last year. That was the old me, and I'm going into this new season with a whole different mentality.
Thank you so much for your time and good luck on Saturday, my friend.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
All right, Josh, all good. Thank you so much. If you just want to hit your that door right there, appreciate you.
Uh-huh. As always, on fashionably timed.
Okay, Anik.
Is this John Anik?
No,
Oh,
one day I
let's
hope
say,
to be as cool as him, though. Bubba,
Great
welcome
last
back.
name. It'll work for you.
Yeah, it's my first name. Anik Subramanian, Fight Book MMA. Bubba, welcome back.
Appreciate
After
it.
4 hard fights last year, what was the recovery process like, and how long did you take off between getting back into training camp?
I'm still recovering from the first start of PFL. But no, recovery is always an important thing. You got to have that thin line between celebration and preparation, and recovery is a massive thing that is a focus. Because the fights are so quick, back to back, every 6 to 8 weeks, you may get 8 days at the most. Even in that 8 days, you're stretching and doing some recovery, getting some chiropractic work in. But for the most part, you're back in the saddle within the next week of your last fight. I mean, a lot of times you're going into fight camp with injuries from your last fight. So, you try to get in and get out as quickly as you can, but that's part of the process. It's a tournament, and they're giving out good money to win it.
Right, it's good to see you back. One more question from me. I know there's a rivalry between you and Chris Wade. After the fight, though, do you think you'll shake hands and bury the hatchet?
No, I don't like him as a person. I can beat him as a fighter. I'm still not gonna like him as a man.
Understood. Good luck this Saturday.
Gotcha.
All right, we'll come back to you. Christian.
Jay Christian Gary, Focus Fights Audio. How you doing, Bubba?
I'm doing well. I like to give all the people who come to ask me questions, I like to give them a little time to settle in, get their coffee, get their little mind right. And then, then I sit down and we can do the damn thing. So always know when you got Bad Man interviews, know you got a little time.
Understood, my brother. Understood. Now, I just want to ask a couple questions, even though it's been opined that you are coming off you're going to be facing off against Chris Wade. You also are coming off a loss to Bubba Loughnane or Logan, whatever his last name is.
I don't think his first name's Bubba, but close enough.
Oh, well, Brendan Loughnane, my apologies. But still, do you have any newfound respect for him going into this season?
Absolutely. Loughnane is a champion. I respect all the champions, especially a champion who's did his best on that night to best me. Nothing but respect for Brendan Loughnane. He's a good person. That's first and foremost, and he's a great fighter. So I'm looking to redeem myself and get that victory, whether through him or anyone else who possibly is stopping me from trying to have the belt. So much respect to him, but I'm the bad man. I'm on another mission.
Understood, brother. And another question I would like to ask is that as a fighter of color, obviously being African American, what would be the one thing you would want to inspire, not just for Black MMA fans, but for fans regardless of creed, culture, or background when they see you fighting that smart cage?
I would like to inspire them to just be themselves, but to keep going. Everybody that you see on TV doing it at a high level are some people that simply just never quit. If I could tell my little 6-year-old, 7-year-old self, something to keep me motivated, it would be just don't stop. There's tons of people fighting. There's tons of people growing. There's tons of people learning how to become. Just don't stop. Develop and process is an amazing thing. You got to fall in love with each process to becoming a person. So I would tell them, just continue the process of going in the right direction and be yourself. Don't ever let anybody change that from you.
Okay, with that being said, good luck on Saturday. Much love.
Thank you, big
to
dog. Appreciate you.
Curtis, can you hear me?
Yes, but you are super quiet, but I heard you. How's it going, Bubba? This is Curtis Calhoun with MMA News. Good to talk to you again, man.
Appreciate you,
First
boss.
question for me, what was it like having to reset and regroup after that fight against Brendan Loughnane, and what were some of the takeaways you took away from that fight?
Well, I limped into my reset, of course. I had a hematoma on my shin, but it's now a part of my body armor. I got a nice little shield there that is going to be doing some damage to other people. But the process wasn't a hard one. I'm super inspired. Even in my long tooth years, I'm still in a place where I can get up and keep going. I felt like I was preserved in the earlier part of my career. I didn't have many wars and things like that. And me coming from a wrestling background, I could usually handle what mixed martial arts brings. So to get back on the horse was nothing but inspiring, because I'm excited to be back in the position that I was in last year, but preferably to capitalize.
Remember, we talked a lot of last year about, kind of that change in mindset that you've had over time in your MMA career. When you look back at your first matchup with Chris Wade, what comes to mind? Like, what do you feel like you've improved and grown the most since that first fight?
Man, just maturity. That alone can be the difference. I've been saying there's a thin line between preparation and celebration. And when I walked into the Chris Wade fight, I had not prepared, and I was still celebrating. Not even in Bobby Moffitt, I was still celebrating in the Lance Palmer fight. I beat Bobby Moffitt off of just waking up and cutting weight. And I tried the same thing with Chris Wade. I just was going through so many things in my personal life that I just was not in the right place to be in there with a fighter like Chris Wade. I respect his fight skills, and that's probably the only thing about Chris Wade that I respect. But for the most part, I was not in the right frame of mind. I knew I wasn't. If I didn't knock him out with that first flying knee where I jumped over him, I knew I was going to be in for a long night. And it was just a terrible game plan, a terrible camp, terrible mindset. I was a terrible person at the time.
Last question for me, man. Looking at Chris and the first impression that you had of Chris, what was your first impression of Chris as a man and as a fighter? And, kind of where did things go wrong between you and him, do you feel like?
My first impression of Chris Wade is he's got a pompous, arrogant look on his face, and he constantly walks around with this "I'm better than everyone" look. It's not just me making this shit up. People can look at his face and be like, yeah, he's got a little bit of arrogance to him. I mean, grandma, uncles, cousins, who is this guy you fighting? He looks a little bit, and it's not just me hating him for the actions and things that we have gone through, because I slapped him with my dick out, but it's because he's just not a good person. I've seen him lose and act like a bitch. I've seen him win and act like a bitch. So you do that when win, lose, or draw. You act like a bitch. You got to be a bitch, because if you walk like a bitch, you talk like a bitch, it's got to be, what's that? A bitch.
Appreciate the time. Thank you, Bubba.
Jonathan Ramlicon, 5 Reasons Sports. What's going on, Bubba? Good to talk to you again, my man.
Bad Man Tings, what's good?
Bad Man Tings, you already know. So we actually talked, just to build a little bit on Curtis's question. We talked yesterday about coming in more calm this season. How is being more calm kind of giving you a little bit of sharpness going into that fight?
I'm trying to come into the mindset of being emotionally attached, but being unbothered. We train with a high intensity. We train with this is Chris Wade. Make sure you're staying focused. And I'm trying to do my best Dewey Cooper impersonation. But he was on me this fight camp to you hate this guy, he hates you. Fight with that intensity, train with that intensity. So we really had a built-in program to up the ante when it came to Chris Wade. We worked on all the antics that he might do. We worked on all the negative situations that may come across. I might even put a piece of tape on my mouth when I face him, because there's some things that I want to say to him, but I definitely am going to focus on speaking with my hands this fight and most of these fights. But the focus is to be unbothered and Yeah, unbothered by anything that he does or tries.
Now, all the great athletes, when it comes to any sport, every offseason, they go out to get better. LeBron comes back with a post game. You came back last year with better striking than the season before. What did you add this offseason to be a better Bubba Jenkins this year?
That emotional content. I feel like I lost $1 million because I did not allow myself to calm down during the championship fight. You know, my mind was everywhere during that groin break. You know, when he kicked me in the groin, there was a break in the action, and during the fight, it was completely in my mind. I was calm, cool, and collected. But once that groin strike happened, you know, my mind started racing. My leg was burning. I was looking at the crowd. I was everywhere, and my emotions got the best of me. Plus, you know, me and Brandon were, although decent friends, we were talking trash. He was like, "Oh, come on, Bubba, I didn't kick you." And knowing that he kicked me, I was like, "Shut your ass up." You know, just we were in the moment, you know, and I allowed my emotions to take away from the game plan that we had planned. So this year is all about that control. And I like the fact that they're giving me Chris Wade, because it speaks to the understanding of, have you corrected that emotional those emotional outbursts or not. You know, I'm not an anxious person when it comes to wanting to fight Chris Wade. I just know that I have to be emotionless when it comes to the focus of the game plan to win.
The people's main event this Saturday. I appreciate your time, Bubba. Good luck.
I keep hearing that, the people's main event. I'm often the people something. So y'all need to start putting me on these main card faces, the posters, all that shit. If I'm the people something, let me be the people's bad man and then put me out. Damn it.
Lorenzo.
Hey, Bubba, it's good to talk to you again, my man.
Yes, sir.
You've been very active past 2 years, man. You fought 3 times in 2021, 4 times 2022. You made it all the way to the championship final in November. You're no stranger to the grind. You already know what it is. You've already talked about the mental changes you've made this past offseason. Have there been any changes in your actual training or preparation heading into your third PFL season? Or do you think you've already got this down to a science now that you've had all the experience with the season format?
No, I pretty much have it to a science, but we've just been training more.
Gotcha. And it's
No,
sorry.
I wasn't done. Now I lost my thought. Damn it. Next question.
It's no secret that you and Chris Wade got some history here, right? Do you let yourself think back to that first matchup with him, or has it been long enough that you're now more focused on your side of the cage and what you need to personally do to continue to improve?
I'm always focused on me, man. It's always Batman versus Batman. We've been saying that for 3 years. Every year I come out, I get better. Every year I come out, I get closer to the championship. And I believe this is the toughest year and the best year to win the championship. Me versus me. Of course, I focused on the things that I did wrong against Chris Wade, but that started before, you know, the referee even let us, you know, get to the center of the cage. So I'm a completely different person and fighter than I was then. And, you know, I'm going to show Chris Wade that he did not beat anyone near close to the bad man, Bubba Jenkins, when he first got me.
Let's see if we can get your train of thought back. I think you have this PFL season format down to a science now, you were saying?
Absolutely. Yeah. We just did more training, more focusing on, you know, the mistakes that we made in the mental game, and more focus on, you know, sharpening up those really good strikes that I have, and adding to those. You know, it's like someone said, you know, LeBron comes back with a post game and a fadeaway and things like that. And with the strikes that I was successful with and landed on a lot of people, we added to that, and we're looking to add waves on top of that. So we're trying to be more damaging this year than we are controlling.
And last one for me, Bubba. I thought about you the other day, actually. I lit a candle in my room. I almost set fire to the whole damn house. Last time we talked in 2022, you were telling me about your scented candles. Is that still a thing? Do we have any?
Absolutely. Y'all need to go cop those Batman candles, man. It smells like a grown, handsome man in the house. So y'all want to set the feng shui. Y'all want to get the room right. Make sure y'all go get them Batman candles. We got 3 scents, and it's a beautiful thing. Chop them up.
Let's go. If we get that championship at the end of this year, we got to put that champ scent next year, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I already got the champion scent. This isn't my first time being a champion. Ain't gonna be my first time dethroning a champion.
Let's go. Thanks, Bubba. Appreciate the time, my man.
Thank you.
Hey, are you out there? Hey, Kyle, Diamond.
Hello, can you hear me? Hi, Bubba. Kyle from VMTV. You've already spoken about the final of last season being quite an emotional fight for you, and that's maybe where you feel like you got it wrong. How much time did it take to kind of get back on the horse and start thinking ahead instead of reminiscing about the final from last year?
I would say the moment they dropped the name Chris Wade on me, I was over thinking about Brendan Loughnane. The focus had been Chris Wade, but I would say, emotionally, I took a couple weeks off. Just, I felt like I was really, really close. I felt like I was winning the majority of the rounds when the referee stopped me. Even looking back at the stoppage, it wasn't that I was dazed or unconscious in any way. He hit me with a beautiful punch, and then as I stepped to react to it, it just, I completely on film slipped my way to my knees. And the punch did make me back up and slip, but me recovering and me being there consciously, I felt like I should have had more opportunity to continue that fight. But nonetheless, he got the best of me that night, and the focus has just been to get myself back in that position with not only a better mindset, but better conditioning, better striking, better everything. I'll be better this year.
Chris said to us earlier about how you can't look into the first fight between you guys too much because it's been such a long time since then. Do you see anything in his game that's improved throughout the last couple of years since you guys last fought?
Sure. He's improved, I guess. Batman versus Batman. I don't care about Chris Wade.
Do you feel like the boxing that we saw, particularly from you last year, is kind of the big development in your game? How far has that come on since 2021?
Really good. I'm trying to knock his ass out. I won't be doing as much wrestling as I did in the first time. The thing I think about wrestling, you can control him, but not much hurt. You can control him, you can submit his freedom, but you can't hurt him as I want to hurt him. And I'm trying to hurt Chris Wade.
Cheers, mate. All the best.
Thank you.
You out there? Hey, are you out there?
Hey, I am here. I think we're having a real time hearing you announce the names, just a heads up. But Bubba, thanks for the time. Really appreciate it. Just wanted to expand on something that Chris mentioned earlier. He said the two of you were involved in an altercation outside of the cage last season. I'm wondering if you can shed any light into that.
Yeah, I was weighing in, butt ass naked. I went to grab my drawers while I was bent over. He came to ask me questions. And as a man with ass in the air, you just don't ask another man a question. So I turned around and I slapped him. And I realized that I was about to bully him, but he had the look on his face that said he didn't want smoke. But my drawers were already down. So I felt vulnerable. So that's why I slapped him while he was getting prepared for Lance Palmer. I was getting ready for Kyle Boshiak. And he came out the bathroom while I was on the scale, butt ass naked, trying to talk to me. And that, you just don't do that. I don't care who you are. I'm not about to answer a question with my ass in the air. So I slapped him. I just thought it was a bitch move that he did. So I gave him a bitch slap.
Appreciate you clarifying that. And when it comes to your last two losses, and really your only two losses in the PFL, they've come to Chris Wade, who's been to the finals, and they've come to Brendan Loughnane in the finals. How much does that tell you about where you are and what you need to do to make that final step?
I've been to the finals. I smelt the victory. I just need to keep being me and improving in the places that I feel that me and Dewey are working on. It has nothing to do with Loughnane. It has nothing to do with Wade. It has everything to do with my mentality and who I am in the cage.
All right. Well, looking forward to the fight this weekend. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we have Thiago. Jonathan, please start us off.
Jonathan Ramlakan, 5 Reasons Sports. What's going on, Thiago? I just wanted to get your. I'm good. Thanks for asking. I just want to get your thoughts on the PFL and their organization as a whole and the way they've kind of treated the fighters and everything, maybe outside of the smart cage.
Everything good. I'm very happy to be here. Everyone treated me very well. So I feel at home here. Feel good.
Now, coming into the season, obviously you can fight up to 4 times if you want to make it all the way to the finals and win it. How is preparing for 4 fights different than just preparing for one fight with the fight camp?
I just need eat less. But
Awesome, my man.
yeah, just take care of my body, and keep the weight down, and that's it.
Awesome. I appreciate your time, my man. Good luck in your fight.
Thank you.
Hey, Thiago, it's good to talk to you. Thanks for giving us the time. For those fans that might not know, your wife is also a pro MMA fighter. She just had a fight last week. How hard was it for both of you guys to be in training camp at the same time? Or maybe it was easy because you were both just focusing on your own objectives, How was that?
Yeah, it was the first time we fought close each other. But yeah, have some plus, have some minus, but was good. Everything was well. We trained together, we eat together, doing diet together. Was good. Everything good.
That's great to hear. And moving forward to this year, this is a new experience for you with the PFL season format. You already know that if everything goes well, you're going to have at least 3 or 4 fights before the year is over. Is it almost a relief for you and your team knowing that those fights are already planned or scheduled? In the past, after you finish a fight, you have to wait for this guy calls me out, I call this guy out, we'll see what happens. Is it a relief to not have to worry about those kinds of things outside of the cage?
No, my personality, I not see too much over my next fight. I think about my next fight, and then yeah, after that, I think about the next. I try to not think too much about our season. Like step by step. I think about my fight now, Robert Wilkinson. So, and then after we will see.
How much were you able to study Rob from last year? Do you have a good sense of what kind of fighter he is?
Usually, all my camps, I not watch my opponents. I leave this to my coach. I just do what I have to do. I think about myself, improve myself, and that's it. It's my coach's work, and then what they say, I follow.
Perfect. Thanks for the time, Thiago. Appreciate it. Can't wait to see you on Saturday.
Thank you.
Thiago, Anik Subramanian, Fightbook MMA. Welcome to the PFL, first of all. Now, I know you fought the toughest guys like John Jones, Jamal Hill. Rob Wilkinson is another tough guy. Out of all your fights, who do you think has been the most challenging fight, and what challenges do you think you can bring to Rob?
No, every fight, it's I see like a challenge, a big challenge. He is a tough opponent, so but I have fought the tough opponents, the last 2 years, or I can say all my career. So I'm very excited for that. I prepare very hard. I feel great to this fight. I want to put in the show and show to everyone that Thiago Santos arrived in the PFL.
Very nice, very nice. And one more question from me. Stylistically, how do you think you match up with Rob? Now, both of you are great strikers. He's improved his grappling, and you're a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Do you plan on keeping the fight standing, or what do you plan on doing?
Yeah, I am striker. This is my origin, so I can change that. I will try to keep the fight in stand up. I wanna put my strike, and but I'm prepared for everything. I train hard, improve my wrestling, my jiu-jitsu. So, but I love to exchange punching and kicks. So, it's what I'm gonna do.
Excited for the fireworks. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Hey, Thiago, how's it going?
Hi, going well.
Just one question from me. You're close to the end of your career at 39 years old now. Do you plan on retiring here in the PFL, or do you plan to fight out the season try to win, and explore other options?
No, I'm not planning about retired at all. Now I know it's like I have about 2 or 3 years, but I not see it and plan. I'm gonna retire it here or next year. No, it's gonna happen when the times come. It's come, but now I'm planning to fight very hard Saturday.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
MMA locker room.
Hey, what's going on, Thiago? How's it going? It's MMA Locker Room, part of Pub Sports Radio.
Going well, thank you.
Good, good, good. Just want to say, man, you're looking like you're feeling comfortable up in there with that nice sweater. You feeling good today?
Yeah, feeling well. I'm good.
Got it. Another thing, I want to talk about this little hunger thing. You know, it seems like a lot of UFC fighters come over to this organization. They do well. Is that one of the things that, you know, built this fire for you to go in this organization, seeing that other fighters was over here and able to, you know, reinvent themselves and make $1 million? Does that build another fire for you?
Yeah, that's my goal. I'm here to fight, to win the belt and get 1 million. That's my goal.
Got it. And not just that, talk us about some of the training partners that you have coming over here with you to prepare you for this fight. Who are some of the people that you're training with for this fight?
I trained with Marcelo Gom, who's gonna fight tomorrow. I train with Philip Lins, and yeah, some other guys. Josh, who's gonna fight the same season as me. We trained together a few times, and yeah, these guys.
Got it. No worries, man. Love to see you out there. Let's go, Brazil.
Thank you.
Kyle.
Hi, Tiago. Kyle from VMTV. By fighting last year's winner in your first fight in the PFL, it feels like you have an opportunity to really announce yourself and make a huge statement. Is that the way that you prefer it?
Sorry, say again, please.
Do you prefer the fact that you're coming in and facing last year's winner in your first fight?
Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be better. I'm very excited to meet him. He's the last champion, and I'm very excited for this fight.
You obviously fought a lot of the best light heavyweights in the world during your UFC time. How do you think that the division in the PFL kind of ranks side by side with some of the guys you've already faced?
So a lot of tough guys, young lions, and it's making me scared, making me very excited to fight against the best guys on the world and to prove to everyone that I'm still one of the best of the world.
A lot of the fans are expecting a striking contest between you and Rob. I'm just curious if you heard John Jones's comments about his fight with yourself before he returned to the UFC.
Yes, I heard about it.
What did you think of what he had to say? Because they were very kind of glowing reviews of your own style and your own abilities.
It's a good comment, it came from one of the best of all time. We fought a great fight, close fight, and the warrior know each other, and I respect him, his story. He one of the best of all time, and we fought very well. And yeah, it's good comments.
Brilliant. All the best for your fight.
Sorry. Thank you. Thank you.
All the best.
Jay Christian.
Good afternoon, Thiago. Bem-vindo ao PFL. How are you, sir?
Good afternoon. I'm good. Thank you.
Hey, I just wanted to, by the way, this is Jay Christian Gary of Focus Fights Audio. I just wanted to ask a couple of questions, if that was okay with you. First of all, when it comes down to this being your PFL debut, considering you fought 23 times elsewhere in an octagon in some way. How does the difference in atmosphere, considering this will be your first non-UFC fight since 2012, how do you think the difference in atmosphere will feel for you stepping into a new promotion for the first time in almost a dozen years?
Yeah, I'm gonna feel Saturday night, but I'm already very excited. You know, I think the difference gonna be about everything new. You know, no new promotion, new opponents. I have a very tough guy to meet, so I'm very excited for that. And yeah, it's gonna be a fresh blood. You know what I mean? So I'm very excited for that.
And another question I want to ask is, when it comes down to your career earnings as opposed to what Tapology put out, it says that you're at about $2 grand shy of $1 million. If you win this tournament, well, if you obviously win 3 times in impressive fashion and then go on to win the title, you'll earn more than you have earned in your career earnings at $1 million. What will winning that $1 million, not just the PFL Light Heavyweight title, mean to you?
The light heavyweight title, PFL title, for me, mean to be a champion on a great promotion. And, you know, that most important for me is keep doing what I love to do. I love to fight. And God gave me opportunities to keep doing what I love. I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy to keep fighting. Even I had big injuries on my body. So I'm still able to do what I love to do. I'm blessed. Sure, I want to get 1 million, but I'm not here because of money. But sure, I want to get 1 million. 1 million gonna, you know, make my life better, my family's life better. So, but that's it. It's not like most important. It's important to my legacy.
Okay, other than that, obrigado, no problem, how, and boa suerte on Saturday, brother.
Obrigado.
Hey, Thiago, this is Pedro McCoy from Combat Sports UK. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Great to hear. How excited are you for a fresh start, right? You know, new promotion, new cage, new list of fighters. Are you ready for this fresh start? And how excited are you to step in that cage on Saturday night?
More than ready and very excited for that.
Great to hear. And I want to ask you as well, you know, last time out against Jamal Hill, it was a very competitive fight as long as it lasted. I think we got to see the aggressive Thiago Santos. And I think a lot of fans love that. Is that what you're bringing into this one as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. I feel ready. I'm prepared very well. And yeah, I want to Saturday put in the show and show to everyone that Thiago Santos arrived in the PFL.
One last question from me. Rob Wilkinson said today that we haven't seen your power in a while since the John Jones loss and that your style has changed. Do you have a message for him about, you know, about what he said and for Saturday night?
Man, I don't have too much to do, you know. I respect all my opponents. You know, if he think like that, he gonna see Saturday night, and then after fight he can say if he gonna feel or not.
Great to hear, man. I'm super excited for the fight. Good luck on Saturday night, man.
Thank you.
Sit down. Yeah, let's.
Jonathan Ramlakan, 5 Reasons Sports. Hey, Brendan. Looking at the history of the PFL, of course, there's only been 4 champions to repeat so far. What would you have to do to make yourself the 5th?
just have to put in another great season, just like last one. If anything, to go off my last 2 fights, then we're in for another great season, aren't we?
You did actually performed really well in those 2 fights. Honestly, pretty flawless in those performances. Now, even looking that flawless, you want to come back with maybe some new wrinkles or some new layers in your game. What were you able to add in the offseason to maybe improve or sharpen some of those tools?
I just stayed consistent with the work that got me to where I am, the coaches that got me to where I am, and I believe I've put in the best camp ever, and I'm about to show it on Saturday night.
Awesome, mate. Appreciate your time, my man, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Jay.
Thanks very much. And Brendan, you are now the man with the target on your back coming into this season. Is the mentality any different in terms of coming back and looking to do this a second time?
No, definitely not. At the end of the day, they say there's a target, but when has there not been a target? Like, you know what I mean? We're having a fist fight in a cage. You're obviously the target. So a lot of people say like, you're the man to beat now, but I was always the man to beat in this organization. So there's nothing's changed around here.
And last year we saw the league go over to the UK. We've seen the launch of PFL Europe. The regular season is going to be, from the looks of it, in Vegas and Atlanta again. But are you hopeful to be fighting back at home in the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I keep putting it out there. Me and Mov lead final, Manchester Arena. Like, you don't ask, you don't get. So let's see.
Well, I think that would be absolutely fantastic. And as far as kicking off the season now, have you changed up anything after the success of last year?
I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? So that's exactly the mantra that I'm taking into this season.
Sounds good. Well, best of luck in the fight. Looking forward to it.
Thank you, my man.
Patrick.
Hey, Brandon, this is Pat McCoy from Combat Sports UK. How you doing today?
Hi, Pat.
Last time out, we saw you win the $1 million. I want to ask you if you're willing to say, what was the first thing you bought with the big check?
I drove Route 66. That was my first little investment. It was brilliant. It's on my bucket list. And then I bought an apartment in Dubai, which I'll live in when all this shit is said and done, and live happily ever after.
And did you try and bring the check back through the airport? What did they say when you tried to squeeze it through security?
Do you know what? God bless my mum, right? She was like, I'm not leaving without this. I'm like, Mum, we'll just get a new one, mate. She's like, no, I'm taking this one. Somehow she managed to get it through the airport. So fair play to her.
And I noticed on your social media, you've been training out in Thailand with the likes of Muhammad Makayev, Darren Till, Hamzat Shemaev, and Kane Musa. How have they helped you become an even better fighter than you already are?
They're all my boys. It was just nice to have my boys around me for this camp and be with all the Manx, the English, the Scousers. Shemaev had his team there. It was great, man. What a camp this was.
That's great to hear. And one last question from me. You faced off with Marlon Moraes a few times now. What's the energy you're feeling off him? He's been saying he wants a war. He's ready to go to battle. What energy are you feeding off of him right now?
You want to go to war, bro? Let's go. That's it.
That's great to hear. Super excited for the fight. Good luck on Saturday night, my friend.
Thank you.
Mike Owens.
Oh, hello, lad.
Hello, Brendan. Mike Owens here.
How
What's
are we?
happening, lad? How you doing, mate? You okay?
Yeah, good. What's happening, Mike? What have you got for me?
Just one question, mate. I was wondering if you catched the PFL Europe the first show in Newcastle, and if you think that Dakota getting the win and Lewis McGrillen getting the win makes the thoughts of Manchester Arena even more likely, or is it all about the main man?
No, 100%. Like, come on. Like, now it always made sense, but now it makes double sense. We got loads of crazy Manx knocking around this PFL now, so why not?
And just last one from me, mate. You've always talked about how we're built different in Manchester, we're built different in the Northwest. Can you just elaborate on that to all the other reporters? What makes the Northwest of England a little bit different than everyone else?
I don't know what it is, mate. We're from fighting cities, aren't we? Manchester and Liverpool. We're just fighting cities. We're born and bred to do this, and I just think with the level of boxing that comes out of them two cities, with the Smith brothers, Tyson Fury, Crawler, and all these people from Manchester and Liverpool that have come there, I think now we're starting to breed the MMA, and that's why you have like me, Lewis, and Dakota.
Top man. See you soon, mate. All the best.
See you, brother.
Anik.
Anik Subramanian, Fightbook MMA. Brendan, through all your interviews, you've inspired so many people with so many different stories over the last year specifically. You've had such a long journey to becoming world champion last year. Could you tell me what the most satisfying part of winning it all was?
Good question. I've had it like, I go through three different things. Like, was it the belt? Was it the money? Or was it the performance? And if I'm brutally honest, I think it was a combination of all three. I couldn't put my finger on one thing that meant the most, but to be able to negate Bubba's wrestling, then to get $1 million and then to win a belt, like, I couldn't separate which one meant more to me.
That's amazing. Well deserved. And one other question from me. Marlon Moraes has fought everyone in the world. What do you think is the biggest challenge that he will pose?
Marlon's fought everyone in the world. He literally has, though. Literally, you hit the nail on the head. He's a dynamic, explosive striker. He's, I call him the best 3-minute fighter in the world. He's going to go absolutely berserk for 3 minutes, and then Brendan will take over.
Sounds good. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Kyle Diamond from VMTV. How's it going, mate?
Yes, brother.
We've just had the PFL Europe's first event in Newcastle over the last weekend. How does it feel to represent the UK in the PFL, which you've been doing since you've joined the promotion? But now it really feels like you're spearheading a big push for them back home.
I'm just really happy that it's grown to that level now, that they've expanded into this side of the world. I always told them that it would work over there. And we went to London, we sold it out. It was a 6 show. And then now they've done the Newcastle, and I'm just so glad that they're broadening the horizons and that we're growing together.
It was a big emotional moment for you winning the finals. I know that you love to train all the time. How much time did you give yourself off?
No, I had some real time off this time. I really did. I actually forgot about fighting for a little bit, which is very unlike me. And it's something that I've not done in, 16 years of being in this sport. So it was nice to really deload, take in the moment, enjoy it, and then feel really refreshed and revitalized for this season.
The two guys that you beat last year to make it to winning the world title, Bubba Jenkins and Chris Wade, are facing off in a rematch on the same event. How do you see that their rematch plays out?
I just seen Bubba outside and I had a word with him. I was like, listen, bro, stop getting so emotional about Chris Wade. Like, don't let him get in your head. Just fight your fight. You know what I mean? So let's see how that one plays out. It's interesting. Bubba's striking's improved a hell of a lot since he fought Wade last time. I'm actually really excited for that fight as a fan. I really am.
You mentioned the Bubba fight then, which was a tough fight. You had to go through a lot of adversity to get to that final round, but it kind of feels like if you were going to win it, it had to be that way for you. Is that fair to say?
Oh, mate, that picture of me covered in blood, Madison Square Garden, getting raised up by my coach, 4th round knockout. I mean, if I could have wrote a script for a movie, that's how I would have wrote it.
Oh, for sure, mate. All the best for the fight.
Thank you.
Hey, Brendan, good to talk to you again, my man. I want to say hi, champ, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. You know, they got to at least let you hold it for the interview here, man. Come on.
I know. I don't even know if I'm champion. I don't know if it's the defense. I don't know if I don't know what's going on around here.
It's a new year, and that means a new season for the PFL, right? Can you tell us a little bit about your mindset heading into this first matchup specifically? Are you looking to really make a statement, given it's your first fight back from winning the belt, or is there a part of you that's like, it's the first fight of the season, no need to do anything crazy here? What are you thinking?
No, I'm always looking to make a statement. You close the door and lock me in there with another human being, I'm always going to try and take him out as quick as possible, and that's the plan.
You've talked earlier this week about securing your legacy. You now have the money. You've now had the belt. What does legacy mean for Brendan Loughnane? Is it as simple as back-to-back PFL world titles?
Big names like Marlon. I need big names. I need big fights. I need big arenas. I need sellouts. That's the type of stuff that I'm looking for now.
Perfect. And you mentioned driving Route 66. I got to say, that was a dream of my grandfather as well. Unfortunately, he was never able to live out that dream. Maybe after the season's over, you can give us a trip report so I can read it and plan mine out for next year, huh?
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but it was incredible. I'm glad that I did it, straight after the fight as well. Like, when my phone was going, everyone wanted to talk and all these reporters and everything. And I just deloaded, put myself in a camper van, drove for 8 days, and really, like, when you're driving for like 8 hours at a time and you're just staring at mountains and you really start to reflect on what actually went on. and it was a great time for reflection for myself.
That's awesome. And then lastly, from me, were you able to spend any time back home after such a busy season? Were you able to go back to Manchester? And if so, how was that reception now that you've etched your name into that list of UK world champions?
Yeah, I went back. It was only for 6 days though. So after this fight, I'm going to go back, get a bit of time with my family. I'm really looking forward to that. I've not seen them all since early December last year. So I'm well overdue a catch up back at home with my mum, my dog, all my friends and family. I can't wait.
Sounds good, Brendan. Appreciate the time, man. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see you on Saturday.
Thank you, brother.
Jay Christian.
Hey, Brendan, Jay Christian Gary at Focus Fights Audio. How you doing, chap?
Hello, my man.
Hey, I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions, if that was okay. I know that you got your fight coming up with Marlon Moraes, but considering the fact that you're kind of still coming off of that win over Bubba Jenkins and still have issues with Chris Wade, do you have any ill will towards either of them, Wade or Jenkins?
No, I got it settled in the cage like a man. We had a fist fight and now it's all settled.
Okay, understood. Now, coming into this season, considering the fact that you're going to be coming into this season to repeat as PFL Featherweight Champion and add some more $1 million road stories to your journey, what do you hope to inspire? I mean, how do you hope to inspire younger fighters who look up to you?
I mean, if my story is anything to go by, it's just a story of perseverance and never giving up. Started this sport at 15 years old. It took me to 33 to get a world title. So there was plenty of times in there that I could have stopped and give up. You know, when I lost last year to Movlead, when I got told that I wasn't good enough to be in the UFC, when I got robbed on the first world title that I fought 4 years ago. So there was plenty of times that I could have just turned around and stopped, but I didn't. I persevered, and hard work pays off.
Okay, and finally, when it comes down to, I mean, I don't want to ask how many years you got left on your career. You probably could fight till you're 50. But when it's all said and done, when you hung up the gloves, what would you want people to remember about your career and how it went?
I just want to be known as that tough Mancunian English kid that never ever give up.
Okay, other than that, you know, good luck on Saturday against Marlon Moraes, mate.
Thank you. Nice and simple. Love that.
Thanks, guys.